This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sankeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. Gilbert Garcia with another tip from me. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. And welcome to the show. Thank you, studio audience. And we have a great show today because not only do we have someone that's probably one of the most knowledgeable people in Harris County, but he's also one of the most knowledgeable people related to Metro, related to engineering, all the things going on in Houston, Texas. And that, of course, is Mr. Roberto Treviño. Welcome to the show, Roberto.
Thank you for having me on, Gilbert.
Well, I'm so glad to have you. And let me just make sure I have this right. What is your actual title? You are the Executive Director of the Harris County Toll Road Authority.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but of course, I know you from Metro because you were one of the senior guys. What was your title at Metro? You were one of the senior guys on all the service and all the engineering and everything at Metro.
So I went through many titles there. I was 17 years. I started off as a resident engineer, and then my big break in the program was with the expansion of the light rail program, and I was the program manager for the Green Line, the East End Line, and slowly progressed from there to eventually ending up with Executive Vice President of Planning, Engineering, and Construction for the last 4 or 5 years I was at Metro.
Wonderful. I want to go through all that. I want to go through your whole journey because it almost reminds me of, were you one of those young boys that would go to and watch Thomas the Train or something like that, and you knew, I'm just going to be, I really have this dream of being a connective and an engineer, because you've been involved from the beginning almost of all these great things that we've been doing. It's pretty amazing. I want to go through your whole journey right after this because, it is called Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer, and I got sent a prayer that I want to read, and this is from Mrs. Martinez. So Mrs. Martinez, if you're listening, I'm going to read your prayer today, and it is, good morning, it's Monday. I woke up, I'm alive, I'm blessed. Grateful for a fresh start and a new week full of possibilities. Thank you, Lord, for carrying me into this new beginning. Bless this week, guide my steps, fill my heart with peace, and lead me towards purpose and victory. Ms. Martinez, that's for you, and thank you for sharing that with Houston and Harris County and for all of us to enjoy this early Monday, and what a great Monday it is. So coming back, Roberto, I want to go through, remind me, are you a native Houstonian?
I am not.
Okay, where are you from?
So I'm originally from Taft, Texas.
I know Taft.
Yep.
Sure, right by, don't tell me, Portland, Gregory, Taft, all that, Corpus Christi, et cetera, right? That whole area.
That's right.
I know it. So keep telling. So you're from Taft?
Fighting Taft Greyhound, city of 3,000 people. The green and white.
Is it the green and white?
It's the green and white. So I grew up there, been there my whole life. Well, I grew up there my whole life. It's a small farming community. It's a small farming community. Most of the employment is outside of Taft. It's in Portland or it's in Corpus Christi. But if you're not commuting to Portland or Corpus Christi, you're working out in the fields, which what I did growing up in summer jobs or even in, we're coming home from college when I went to Texas A&I. A&I at the time, now it's A&M Kingsville.
That's right.
They changed the name my junior year, so it's A&I till I die. It's A&I till I die. But
does your diploma say A&M?
It does say A&M Kingsville.
There you go.
It does say there, so that's fine with me as long as I graduated. I'm good.
Yeah, but the A&I, were they the Javelinas?
The Javelinas.
I remember. Yep. And of course, A&I had more players go to the NFL.
That's correct.
Than you could ever imagine because, I don't know, it just had such a great program. And so tell me about, growing up in Taft. That's the population was how big again?
3,222.
So
and declining.
Declining. And what was your graduating class in high school?
89 people.
89 people. So you knew everybody.
Everybody knew everybody.
Everybody knew everybody.
Everybody knew everybody.
So how did you go from there to A&I? Did your parents go to A&I?
No.
Are you first generation?
No, I'm first generation. Both my parents didn't graduate high school. Loving environment, loving parents. My dad got to 8th grade. My mother got to 10th grade. But that, credit to my dad. because he didn't want us following that path, he was very, very a strong disciplinarian and really prioritized academics. And you had to prioritize academics because what he would say is like, I don't know, I can't give you advice of what you're going to do. I can't give you advice on how college is going to be. And I can't even give you the finance support you are, but you're going to get your education. And he would stress that. And because of that discipline and the loving support that my mother gave us was a good environment for myself and my brothers and my sister to succeed and get a college degree. Yep. It was non-negotiable.
And how many siblings? How many are there in your family?
So there's 8 total.
8?
It's 7 boys, 1 girl.
Those are the children? 8?
Those are the children.
Oh my God! I can just imagine holidays and the food fight for Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
I mean, my goodness, it's like in the Garcia household. I only have 5. Excuse me, I only have 4 in my household, meaning my kids. And oh my God, my daughter particularly would label her food in the refrigerator so her brothers wouldn't eat it. She'd say, "This is Juju's," because I know what it's like. Oh my God, what a beautiful thing to come home for holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It must have been glorious.
Correct. It's a full house when you're younger and you don't really appreciate it.
Yep.
But as you you go back and you spend time with family. That's what life's all about.
That's what life
prayer
is
all about.
All about.
And just spending time with family. Because at the end of the day, we enjoy our careers, but when it's all said and done, the people that matter most are your family. And my family means the world to me.
Amen for that. Good, you're a good man for that, and that's beautiful to hear. Let me know when there's a caller there. I think there is one, right? Dominic, are you there? You got me and Roberto. Remember your good old friend Roberto Treviño.
Yes, I know. I told Roberto last week I'd call in and do something with the show. My concern is, and we cannot do anything until we get Democratic control in Austin. But I think when Metro was created, and we're dealing with, Metro was created with a law that the city of Houston had to go in, but the multi-cities and the 4 precincts of Harris County could go in, which, when the law was written, made Houston the 800-pound gorilla. And I think now, though, with the expanse, more people coming into the county and more people coming into the multi-cities, I think Metro needs to look at what, and again, we have to have Democrats to do this. We cannot do this with a Republican operation in Austin. Let's look at San Antonio Via. If they have a 9-member board, 3 are from the city of San Antonio, 3 are from Bexar County, and 3 are from the multi-cities. So everybody's equal, more equal there. And the board itself appoints a head, a chair. And if it's one of their own members, then the group has to that particular group, whether it's Bexar County, the city of San Antonio, or multi-cities, has to put another person on. I think that's a better way of doing it than that. Also, too, I think there needs to be limitations on what the city of Houston can take from Metro. I know they send, the quarter of the money that Metro gets from the city of Houston gets transferred back into the mobility funds. And my thing is, right now, Metro is sending more than that to the city of Houston. And I think that should be charged as a credit to the general mobility money going back to Metro. And my concern is, why isn't City Council raising red flags? I think Harris County Commissioner's Court needs to start to raise red flags, and the multi-city needs to be raising red flags. The city of Houston Metro is not the city of Houston's money bank.
Well, I'm going to unpack some of that if you don't mind, and I really want to
go ahead.
I want to keep the show focused on the toll road. But Roberto is on the Metro board, and I really think where you're going is, if I'm not mistaken, by the time the census comes around, and I mean the real census, not one of these gerrymander things, but the real census at the end of the decade, we're going to discover that there are now so many people in the unincorporated parts of Harris County that will trigger a reconstitution of the board. I think it's going to be very close. It was very close when I was already there. And what I mean by that, Houston, Harris County, is, and I don't remember if the rule is, so please correct me if I'm not correct here, Roberto, or if you don't know, we'll just leave it to people to fact check. If more than 50% of the county are outside the city limits of Houston, which means they're the unincorporated parts of Harris County. I believe that it's set up to where the county gets one more position, and therefore all the board members get to pick the chair. Something like that.
Yes,
Is that about right?
That's my recollection.
And so it's very close to where you're going naturally, which is giving more representation to the county because of the population, and giving the chair not just from the mayor, but an agreement, kind of like from the port, of all constituents voting on some person. So it's going to go that way, Dominic, sooner or later. And I have a feeling it'll happen this upcoming census at the end of this decade. So let's just watch that. But thank you for calling in, Dominic.
And yeah, you're on the right path. I'll call next week because I think you also have another person that's deep.
Yes, I'm going to do a whole lot of Metro with Bill King. With Judge Jefferson, and we're going to decipher all the incorrect information and all the things that are not accurate in a lot of the Bill King blogs, who, of course, is one of the most anti-Metro persons there's ever been. He's in that Hall of Fame with Tom DeLay and John Culberson and others. But we'll leave that for me and Judge Jefferson to peel back. Thank you, Dominic, for calling in. So let's come back to you, Roberto. So you went to Texas A&I, and were you an engineer by education?
Yes, mechanical engineer. So
very interesting.
Absolutely. So I got my degree in mechanical engineering. There's not a lot of opportunity in mechanical engineering as much as in civil engineering. And
dude, for people like me that don't really know, what is the difference between mechanical, electrical? And by the way, I saw Paul Puente had reached out to us online. Paul Puente, great to see you and hear you, my friend. And I sure hope that we get you back on the air soon. Of course, he's the head of our building trades. Just go through what's the difference between electrical engineering, mechanical, civil, some of these different engineerings, and what does that mean to the lay person?
So for the lay person, just in the simplest of terms, is civil engineering builds something that you build it and it's static. A roadway, a bridge, it doesn't move. A mechanical engineer gets that static environment and puts motors to it. It welds pieces together. It creates motion with that static environment. Now electrical powers everything. It powers the civil engineering and powers mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering has a good blend of both electrical and the civil, because there has to be something mechanical to create that structure to move.
So let me ask you this, again, for people like me that don't really know but that want to know, if you're a civil engineer, what's the difference between that and an architect?
So a civil engineer who comes in and does the detailed design calculations to make sure that as a facility is getting built, that it meets the engineering specifications of load requirements. An architect
that it can hold
whatever the intended purpose is. An engineer will go in and do the design calculations, and will do the plan sets that ultimately someone will price and build for you. An architect can dip their toe in that, but an architect really provides the vision of the aesthetic and feel of a facility to make sure that it meets the intended needs of the customer. The engineer actually gets it done in most cases.
So is it like heavy mathematics?
It's heavy mathematics.
Okay.
It's heavy.
And so you graduated from A&I, and you had your civil engineering degree. And then what happened? Where'd you go, or what'd you do?
Well, when I first graduated out of college, I joined an oil and gas company in Corpus Christi. Small oil and gas company, and as oil and gas goes up and down, so did my job.
I understand.
And then walking into my office downtown Corpus Christi and said, "Hey, we have 2 more weeks with you," and then the panic sets in. And growing up from Taft and going to Kingsville, that's a city of 3,000 to a city of 20,000.
Right.
And then I still went back to Taft to live while I worked in Corpus. So, with the job prospects drying up in Corpus, I said, you know what? Right. I have to go look at Houston. And I started getting job interviews in Houston, and it's like, oh my goodness,
that's the big city.
The big cities that hit me up.
That's like the Beverly Hillbillies when they'd go to Bud Tussle. You're going to Houston.
Absolutely. So going to Houston, I thought Houston was just going to eat me up.
Yeah.
And blessed, I joined a company. It was in mechanical engineering. It was doing plumbing supplies. We would design construction building supplies. I was there for about 2 years. And then I joined a really small consulting firm that did facility reviews of construction sites. And that's the opener that got me to Metro after a couple of years there. That construction engineering background suited me well for the first position I got at Metro, and it was the resident engineer of the facilities.
The facilities meaning
Like the bus,
park and rides
the
and
park
so
and
forth?
rides,
Oh,
the
no kidding.
facilities.
And what year was that? So when did you join Metro?
I joined Metro in 2005, and it was just as the big programs were getting underway.
Okay, so that's why by the time I got there in 2010, you were already somewhat of a senior person, or at least that was my perception, because you'd already been there like 5 years.
Yeah.
So you joined in 2005, and your role was to be in charge of the bus bays.
Yes.
Is that correct?
All the facilities at Metro, there's, you have the bus operating facilities, the park and rides, even the administration building. Any work going on in those facilities, I oversaw.
Interesting. And how many employees did we have back then at Metro? Because now,
Oh, goodness, that's a great
well, now that we're over 4,000.
Yeah.
When I was there, I believe we were like 3,200 or something of that nature. Remember, we had a hiring freeze, and then the workforce shrunk naturally. So you don't recall how many?
I don't
But that's
recall.
okay. No, that's quite
Yeah,
all right.
no.
And then so you were there, and then you became, of course, big in demand when all the rail was being constructed.
Yes.
And that had to have been an extraordinary time because, number one, there was a ton of work. And number two, there was lots of moving parts, and you were right in the middle of it.
Oh, absolutely.
And what do you think? Do you look back and say, God, that was awesome? Or do you look back and say, boy, that was a lot of work? Or do you look back and say, whew, I'm glad I'm done with that?
Well, I'm glad,
I'm just curious.
It's funny you think of that, because even driving into,
Yeah.
to your office today, we drove on Capitol, where you share the lane with the train.
Right.
And you know exactly why it is that way. Why didn't one have, it'd be great if you have a dedicated lane, but I remember the opposition from a lot of stakeholders was, hey, you can't have a dedicated lane downtown. So we know, having experienced it all from the very beginning, from
Yep.
the planning phase of the program to now, to where, the city's inviting World Cups because of the transit agency
That's right.
and the services it provides, knowing all the nuances of, why that curve is there and
Yep.
what properties are here and there, and to kind of navigate
Yeah, that's
that path
interesting that you know.
to where we actually have a celebration, like the celebration we had when you opened up
That's
the rail
right.
lines officially, from getting from just a piece of paper to actual reality, you learn so much. And it's just part of the journey that I really enjoyed of now that, I've entered this transportation realm at Metro and now at Hectra. It really provides a context of all the different modes that the region needs to make sure that people can move efficiently.
That's right. Going back, it's interesting, and again, this is not for you, but this will be for me and Judge Jefferson next week. We're going to talk a little bit about, how is it that, hold on, let's see here. Does Hectra require or encourage the use of registered apprenticeship programs on its construction projects? That's from Paul Puente.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have an answer for him or not.
No, we don't require it, but we strongly encourage it. Like
Okay.
the county and the commissioners are all in on M2B firms, small businesses, and apprenticeship programs. So we have construction safety work programs. So policies are constantly put in place. It is not a requirement, but we know what the direction is in his agency is that we have to provide as much apprenticeship as we can.
Great. So hopefully we answered that there for you, Paul. What's interesting is, stakeholders, that's an elegant way, right, to talk about them. They didn't want a dedicated lane there, but yet they'll eat up a bike lane, they'll eat up a whole car lane for a bike lane. And the number of bike riders, at least in front of my street, are very, very few. So, sometimes you just got to wonder, who's making these decisions? So we'll talk all about that next week. But going back, so we completed everything, and then I guess you felt it's time to, go conquer a new thing. You went to Hectra, and Hectra, of course, is the Harris County Toll Road Authority.
Right.
Explain the difference between Hectra and the Commissioner's Court. I mean, is Hectra its own entity, its own company, so to speak?
Yes.
Is it its own metro, or are you just part of the county government? I mean, just explain it all to us.
So Hectra is an enterprise fund managed by Commissioner's Court. So it is an enterprise fund, just similar to the Houston Airport system that is managed by City Council. It's the same thing. It's enterprise fund but is managed by Commissioner's Court.
But is the enterprise fund such that the toll roads that are paid stay within the toll road authority's domain?
Yes.
Or does it go to the commissioners and then they spend the money on various things?
So statutorily, the way the Chapter 284 is written, which applies to HECTRA, once it's paid off, it becomes state infrastructure. It doesn't become county infrastructure.
Interesting.
Yep. So the, we maintain it. There's a lot of debt goes out for several years before it'll ever even think about getting paid off. But Commissioner's Court just manages the agency. Statutorily, it goes back to text that once paid off. But the funds that HECTRA does acquire, there's statutes that say that it can be used for mobility purposes within the county.
I see.
And that is the
Along the way.
Along the way.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, here's Cambrell Marshall. Thank you, Mr. Cambrell Marshall. Great man. What is the challenge of keeping up with the Houston area's growth to stay ahead of our mass transit needs for Cambrell?
Yes.
And of course, let's focus not just on mobility, but the whole part about the toll road.
Yes.
So let's answer that question if you don't mind.
So, it's kind of like with the background that you had in Metro and
Yep.
Metro, and you talked about bike lanes as well. I think collectively, right away is the biggest concern in the region. Everyone thinks like the Houston region, Harris County's thriving. And the density's coming in. As we identify right away for some mode of transportation, we have, in my opinion, I think we should incorporate all modes of transportation into that right of way, so that way you provide as much throughput as you can. So as you talk about how can a toll road partner with, Metro to make sure that we're moving as many people within that right of way as possible, I think that's where some of the projects that Hector's kicked off, we're taking a look at West Park Corridor. As you know, the university line was planned in 50 foot of adjacent right of way to our West Park toll road. Right, and how can we leverage that right away to start increasing the frequency of travel going up and down West Park Toll Road?
East-west.
East-west.
That's right.
Correct. East-west, and it connects into the Silver Line there on the southern end. We have a project. Somebody's studying that. A project that we're actually really taking a look at that can blend a lot of other modes such as transit into a Hector Toll Road is the Hardy Downtown Connector project that we just kicked off. It's connecting the Hardy Toll Road. As right now, as you come
Which
into
only
the
goes to 610.
It only goes to 610.
And then it goes up to the airport.
Correct. It goes up to the airport.
keep
So it's a
going.
major destination. And as you know, as chair, like the goals of getting to the airport were always the big thing. Like we need mass transit at the airports. How can Hector participate in that? So we already have a toll road to 610. Commissioner's Court has given Hector the authority to connect it into the north part of downtown. And it will come right here next to the Elysian Street. And so we already have 90% of the right-of-way. As we extend that toll road in there, why can't we have signature bus service or a park and ride service going up to the airport that has the frequency and the travel time reliability that people would choose to use it, and it also serves as a toll road as well. So that's where I think we need to be creative. And as we start making these transportation decisions, it can't just be one mode. We have to be creative.
Right.
We all have to work together to make sure that we're doing in the best interest of the region. And how do we want the region to look like in the future? Do we want it just to be a bunch of lanes, or do we want it to be a really good environment for people?
Well, we have another question already from Oliver Rodriguez. Is Houston Metro fully prepared to handle visitors during the FIFA World Cup? So let's say more all the county and the city governments. Is Metro and Hectra and everyone going to be ready? The HOV lanes, et cetera, are we going to be ready?
I believe we're going to be ready. Now, it's a tall task. Will it all go smoothly? Probably not. But I think, with the agency, as going back to your leadership there, it's invited Super Bowls here. It's had
That's
Final
right.
Fours. We've had events, never one of this magnitude. And the employees of Metro have always risen up to the occasion. The employees at Hector have always risen up to the occasion, and so has the county. So the county has participated in all the coordination for the World Cup. So all the preparation is there. Now, the lift is still yet to come, but I think, the region as a whole is in a really good position to meet the needs of all the visitors are coming for the event.
And when does it start? June?
I believe it starts in June.
And I'm going to have Canetti on the show to talk about FIFA and the whole World Cup.
Yep.
Of course, he used to be the head of the Dynamos.
Yes.
And of course, he's now like the main point person for all the FIFA. And so I'm really looking forward to that. So it sounds like we're in a good spot. So was there another caller or no, Mr. Producer? I think we have another caller already. Keep those questions in, whether you want to do it on email or whether you want to call in, because that's what Roberto's really trying to do, which is really cater to the people and to really meet the needs and answer questions that people have. So we have one here, which is from Jordan. Jordan, are you there? This is Gilbert Garcia, live.
Yes, I had a question for Roberto.
Go for it.
Okay, yeah, I had a question if there were any plans to reduce congestion on the busiest toll roads in the future, especially, during the busiest times of travel, which is 8 o'clock and like 5 o'clock.
Let's go to that. And by the way, Hannah, I see you. You're turning in from Denver Harbor. Thank you, Hannah Cisneros. Let me change that question a little bit, if you don't mind, Jordan, which is when you look at it, first of all, how many different toll roads are there that are under HECTRA?
No, it's just HECTRA.
Right.
We've recently partnered with TxDOT to where now we provide them back office services, which means we handle their operational collections and their customer service.
But the toll roads are all where?
So HECTRA is here in Harris County.
Yep.
Fort Bend has its own.
But where does it go? From where to where?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 133 miles.
That's what I'm looking for.
So it's a bigger ring outside 610. Mm-hmm. You have the West Park Toll Road that goes out east-west.
Yep, right.
You have Hardy that comes north-south.
That's right.
And then we have a small stretch that goes from Harris County to the Montgomery County line on 249.
And so there's really, you just said three. There's the three main toll roads?
Those are the three main toll roads. Correct.
And so to her question, does it get real busy on some of those toll roads?
Oh, absolutely.
It does?
Absolutely.
Okay, and is she right that there's an issue in the mornings and the afternoons?
Oh, absolutely, and that's a challenge where we have. So historically for a toll road, the way they manage congestion is you raise tolls. But we prefer not to do that. We prefer to provide a service as to just continue to raise tolls to try to handle congestion. And what we've, also experienced as well is you can keep raising the tolls. People are going to use it because people need to get to where they're going. So HECTRA has taken a look at what's the traffic going to look like in, say, 2045, and what can we do to kind of improve the efficiency of travel on our toll road now in anticipation of that, as opposed to us get to that point and say, what do we do now? So we have we're determining the barrier-free program right now, where we're going to remove the toll plazas out. That's going to create some efficiencies of travel going through there, and the speeds are going to increase there. But we're also going to introduce some, they're called, connector ramps, where, historically it was very few off ramps and very few on ramps onto the toll road because you wanted the people to stay on the toll road. Mm-hmm. But what we found is if we introduce some of these ramps, you avoid some lights and traffic can go a little bit faster. And we've also evaluated, do we need to go aerially and add more lanes aerially so that way people can go through and get from 249 to, say, 59 if they're going to go that route and not have to be involved with other traffic that's merging on or off the system. So HECTRA is anticipating, that is a very good question. We are anticipating, we already seen what we have today. We know it's not going to get any better in the future, so we already have plans to start addressing all that.
Very interesting. So Hannah had a question. I don't think you can answer this one, but it just says, is Metro offering free rides during the early voting? The answer is I don't know. I believe it has in the past. So Hannah, I'll get that and fact check it. And of course, we'll have Judge Jefferson on the show next week, and we'll be able to go through it. And here's another question from Paul Puente, of course, who is a wonderful man, and he's our Building Trade Union head. It says here, does HECTRA engage with local communities before and during project development? Well, I know the answer on Metro, so I've mentioned that HECTRA is the same. Why don't you go through some of that?
Absolutely. And I will say that the lessons we learned at HECTRA and open transparency kind of led to the new philosophy we had at HECTRA. So
you mean at Metro?
The lesson we learned at Metro and navigating all the different stakeholders and all these rail lines that we're building really kind of helped us at HECTRA as we got to HECTRA and we started putting this new philosophy of engaging the public. And I think there's no greater example of how we're engaging the public with the Hardy Downtown Connector. That project had been on hold for 20 years because the community didn't want it. And so when we came in when I took over at HECTRA, it was one of the projects that we felt needed to get done to connect it to downtown and connect to the airport. We focused on the community and the community first. And we feel at HECTRA that as projects occur, the people that you're driving by need to succeed as much as the people on the system. Like the community needs to benefit as much as the people who are using the infrastructure. So we're really focused on the community and what can the community get out of this project. And as you know, with the engineering background of delivering transportation projects, you know that you need detention ponds for drainage requirements. You need aerial structure. You have a bridge. You have columns. So what we did was, can we amenitize the detention pond? Can we provide it as a green space that the community can use? Can we do an architectural feature on that column or that that column or the bridge retaining wall, so that way it's a complement to the community and what they see on a day-to-day basis. It's not just we're going to go in there, we're going to do the bare bones, and we're going to put the columns and we're going to leave.
Yeah, it's not just a cement
It's
thing.
not cement.
That's right.
And so we're really focused on that, and one that directly correlates to experience at Metro, and I'm sure you remember when we were building the S&I facility, the light rail vehicle maintenance facility on the east end, the community did not want it. But what they did want is say, hey, we need a space where the community can gather. And what Metro did is it shared a space with the community for that local neighborhood to have super neighborhood meetings there, or neighborhood meetings there. We did the exact same thing. We need a Hector facility to support that project. The community was saying, hey, we need a space so we can teach English second language. Kids can go after school. So we did the same thing. We said, hey, we'll share a space of this building for you. Now, when after 20 years, this is the first thing, big project that court would adopt us to under my leadership. I was really nervous as it went to court. What gave me comfort is that the community came out and they waited 3 hours to speak.
Oh my goodness!
And they spoke in support of the project.
That's so great. Well, I know how successful that was to have that meeting space there in the community, because it's like their space.
It's their space.
And I've gone there several times for different things, and so it really worked out. That's super good. We had another person that said something about, I didn't see something about, I think he just said, make sure we vote for Anise Parker. So I don't want to be the one to say it, but there we go, okay. Voting Anise Parker, please go vote. Well, you know what? You got my vote there, Anise Parker. Charlotte Garcia. Gilbert Andrew Garcia, please invite the community to go vote. Early voting's coming up for the runoff election in Houston. Let's support Anise Parker. Thank you, Charlotte. At the end of the day, more than anything else, whether you support Anise Parker, which I do, or someone else, ultimately, vote. Houston, Harris County, vote. Please, whoever you vote for, whether it's a Republican, Democrat, no matter what, just vote. Make your voice heard. Paul Puente, thank you for you saying thank you to me and Roberto for our responses. Any other questions you have, just send it all in. I have a lot more to talk about with you, Roberto, but we have another caller. So is there an Isabel there?
Hi, yes, good morning.
Good morning, Isabel. You have me, Gilbert Garcia, with a tip from me with Mr. Roberto Treviño of HECTRA, which of course is the Harris County Toll Road Authority, and they make movement happen. I think that should be a tagline. Make movement happen. Go for it, Isabel. What do you got for him?
Yes, I was wondering if there's a timeline for when certain toll roads could potentially maybe become free.
So I think what she's really saying is, at what point are they totally paid off, and therefore it can be free?
Yep. It's, unfortunately, it's going to be a really long time.
Yep.
It takes several $100 million a year to maintain the toll road.
Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. So
and what is, just before we go to her question, just give us some idea of what is the maintenance required on a toll road?
Well, it's just like any other road infrastructure. We have to maintain the pavement. The early parts of Hardy was built in the early 1980s, and now that infrastructure is approaching 50 years old. So we're going to have to go out and replace the pavement.
Is that right? Because how often do we replace pavement? It can't be that often, right? Or
no, it's not. If it's concrete, it has say a 50-year life. Mm-hmm. But we're approaching that. So we're in this cycle now that there's a cost to maintain it, and if there is not a toll in place, well then how do you maintain that infrastructure? And then also there's capital projects that are still going on. So we're halfway through, almost approaching halfway through. We're building the Ship Channel Bridge replacement, which is going to be a beautiful landmark for the region. That's $1 billion investment. The Hardy Downtown Connector is going to be $1 billion investment. And then as we start taking a look at 2045 and saying, how can we improve the throughput of this toll road, that's going to make a future investment as well. So when you talk about when can we pay it off, the demands on the region that the toll road has to address, it continues. So there'll always be future expenditures, and I just don't see a day when it's going to get fully paid off.
Well, and I guess it also goes back to, it's one thing to pay it off. It's another thing to keep making improvements and keep doing expansions and keep doing new, because then that's new stuff, which requires new investment.
Yes.
So I totally get that. So hopefully, Isabel, we're answering your question, which is, regrettably, as long as we're doing more things that are benefiting the public, meaning having more off-ramps and more on-ramps, having more bridges, more expansion, et cetera, it just seems like that's good investment to keep people moving here in Harris County. So I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but it seems to me that you're going to keep using that money for more good mobility for everybody. Isabel, you got a follow-up or anything? I think we lost. Oh, go ahead. Go, Isabel, go.
Has there been any toll roads that have been paid off?
Not that I'm aware of, Isabel.
No, I don't think so, because I think they're just all in their first generation of lifespan, and of course, what's happening? Well, you got to start replacing the streets or the concrete. But thank you for your question, Isabel, and please continue listening and call in the future. So let's come back for a second. So you joined Hectra, and you joined in what year?
I joined in January of 2021.
21. And at that time, Hectra had how many employees?
Gosh, it was
Do you recall?
About 1,000.
About 1,000.
About 1,000 employees.
And so, has it met your expectations? I mean, are you happy, or do you feel like, damn it, there's so much more I want to do, or golly, I took this on. I mean, no, really, what's it like to be?
It's been a fantastic experience. So, when we built the rail programs, great celebration to open it up, and then we pivoted to New Bus Network, which was another great, fantastic success for Hectra. I mean, for Metro. And then we entered into Metro Next.
Yep.
And I told myself, well, where's my personal growth? Like, I've done this already before.
Right.
And so going to the toll road, and mass transit is subsidized. It's a subsidized agency.
That's right.
Going to a toll road.
You can't make money on it.
You can't make money on it.
The government is like public good, but keep going.
Yes. And then, so, personal growth, taking on a leadership role at Hector was a great opportunity I couldn't pass up. Working with the great commissioners court was something that was a great opportunity as well. And then you're dealing with the enterprise fund that's self-funding. Either you collect the tolls to pay yourself off, or you don't succeed.
Right.
That's a whole different mentality, and it gives me a different perspective on how transportation can be met. As you're a Metro employee, toll roads are the last thing you think about.
That's right.
But now I'm seeing the other end of the prism, where you're like, hey, well, a toll road is a great thing that can complement other modes of transportation. So it's been a great learning experience. The first 5 years have been fantastic. We've done some great things in those 5 years with court's leadership, and the team that has been assembled there has been really good as well.
Excellent. So hopefully that made sense. Do you have a follow-up or anything like that? Okay, then let me go to Sarah, because we have another caller here. So stay with me, everybody. Sarah, you got a question for Mr. Roberto Treviño?
Hi, yes, I do. I just wanted to see if there were any misconceptions people might have about the toll roads, and kind of seeing things from your perspective, since you're you have more insight about it, and if you could change anything about the system, what would that be?
So let's go with that. I think that's a great question, which is if there's something you could wave a magic wand and you could do it fast without politics, and say, you know what, I really wish we could do this. What do you think? Anything come to mind?
Nothing really comes to mind. I mean, the misconception. I mean, there's the misconception that it's going to get paid off anytime soon. That gets brought up at any interview we do. It's in comments on all our social media. It should be paid off. It should be paid off. I think we need to make clear the benefit to the region that the toll road provides. It provides mobility for millions of people on a daily basis. So it's an asset that we should leverage and get beyond the, well, let's just pay it off mentality, because if we don't start addressing the needs, then what?
That's
You know,
right.
and then the region just kind of slows down and it chokes itself.
Then we're gonna get strangled.
Correct. We're gonna get strangled, and moving on from that and just saying, look, it's an asset, and let's start using this asset for the betterment of Harris County is where, I think that's one of the major misconceptions. And another misconception we gotta, kind of throw out there is like, we, as a toll road, as a government entity, like you said earlier, like we're a government entity to do the benefit good. We don't have a lot of money just sitting around.
Right.
All the money, all the tolls that are generated go toward operating the system, paying debt first.
Right.
Paying the debt, operating the system, building new projects, and if there's any money left over, it gets reinvested into county roadway, and it gets used into the county roadways. There is not a this false panacea of there's a pot of gold at Hectra. There isn't. Every year when our financials get done, we project how much money that could be used for mobility projects, and that gets transferred over to the commissioners, and that goes into your roadway. And it's been a tremendous benefit. And not only does it go into the county roads, it maintains the Lynchburg Ferry, which is a free service for the region, and also maintains the Washburn Tunnel, which is a historic tunnel. And those two facilities provide, movement for a lot of freight in the region. Everyone champions the port, the growth of the port. Well, all that port freight needs to go somewhere, and Hectra is helping address that to keep all this freight off your neighborhood streets and on the major freeways and major thoroughfares that could be the toll road. So, and as freight does use your neighborhood streets, Hectra is, if there's money left over, gets, transfers over the precincts, and they invest that money into the roadway. So, that's where I think, the benefit of Hectra and the misconception of let's just pay it off, I think that would be, if I was king for a day, that would be my wish.
To really just educate people. What is, and that's the purpose of the show today, which is what are all the things that Hectra's doing, and with the public's money, and therefore it's doing a lot of good to keep moving citizens. So, Sarah, hopefully that was helpful to you, and I don't know if you have a follow-up.
No, I don't think I have a follow-up. That was some good insight, good information. Thank you.
Well, thank you for
Sarah.
calling, and please call again. So going back for a second, I want to take a step back, because what I just heard is, boy, it is so complicated.
Yes.
No, I mean, not complicated. It's very complex. There are so many parts to this mobility solution for all the people of Harris County. And even Hectra, which is one part of this whole thing, because there's Fort Bend, there's all these other entities, there's Metro, et cetera. There's just so much.
Yes.
Who's conducting the train? I mean, who's driving the train? I mean, do you all get together and say, okay, this is what we're doing at Hectra, this is what you're doing at Fort Bend, this is what you're doing at Metro, and try to, sort of coordinate it? I mean, how's that work?
It's just through collaboration. Obviously, HJC has a big, role in the collaboration, but I think it's us just reaching out to partners. I would say that the relationship between Harris County and Hectra with TxDOT has never been better, and the way we're aligning projects together to have people move together. We're very welcoming to transit. Before, I remember being with Hectra for 17 years. I probably think of one meeting I had with Hectra at the time. Now, there's constant communications. How can we partner? How can we leverage your service on our roadway, or how can we help you? So I think it's just collaboration. I think we're all in it together, and if we don't work together as a region, we won't be the best place. May not be the best place to be, or the quality of life may go down. And I think transportation plays such a huge role that we have to collaboratively work together to improve the quality of life in Harris County for everybody.
Well, you've done a lot to bring more transparency to the whole effort, and to bring a lot more information to the public and everything. I sure hope you're there for a while.
Well, so do I.
Well, good, because you're a young man, and so you have plenty of roadway, as they say. Before we go to Mark, I thought I saw another. Here we go, Charlotte. How to deal with the fees when I don't own the vehicle anymore? My car was stolen, and now I have a big past due bill. How can I? How can those fees be removed? Oh, well, at the end of the day, the answer is I don't know, but it seems to me if you've already used them, then you've already used them, and therefore they're due.
Yeah, well, no.
I mean, is there such a thing?
So we have fee waiver programs.
Okay, let's talk about
that. We introduce. So if you don't own the vehicle, call our customer service and say you don't own the vehicle. And as long as you can provide documentation that you no longer own the vehicle, we'll waive the fees and we'll even waive the tolls because they don't belong to you.
Oh, how great.
Correct. So I'll give you a funny story. When I first came to Houston for my first interview, I got lost on the toll road. I got lost somewhere on the toll road, and I was scared to death. Like, what about the fees, the fines? They're going to come after me.
The guy from Hetrick is getting lost on the toll road.
Exactly. That was my first experience.
That'd be almost like me as the chairman of Metro getting hit by a bus.
Absolutely.
On the street.
I was frightened, because with my first trip to Houston, I got lost on a toll road, and I didn't want to get hit with these fees and fines. I will tell the public now, everyone listening right now, court said we're not predatory. We don't want outrageous fees and fines, and we've taken measures to introduce fee waiver programs, once every 365-day period. If there's an issue where it may not even be that the car's not yours or stolen, even if you forget to pay, we'll waive those fees and fines as long as you pay the toll. So we've introduced a lot of measures to get from that old mentality of the toll road will get you.
Yeah.
We're not. Now, in the past, if you didn't pay for 30 days, the lawyers are coming after you. Now we send you one invoice, we send you another invoice. If you open up an Easy Tag account, we'll waive the fees, and you just pay the tolls.
What a great thing!
So we're trying to be a softer, gentler Harris County toll road, and we've taken a lot of great steps. So I would just recommend call customer service, and they will walk you through what we can and cannot do. And especially if it's not your vehicle, we don't want you to pay for fees that are not associated with you.
Oh wow! There you go. I was totally off base. So was it Charlotte that asked that question? Let's go back to Charlotte. Where did she go? Okay, so Charlotte, hopefully you're listening to me and you're still on. So it seems to be that the boss said, just call customer service and let them know what your circumstances are, and reasonable people will do reasonable things.
That's right.
So it sounds like they'll be willing to waive some things, and so Charlotte, I think you should do that. So hopefully you'll do that. Do we have, isn't that great? And by the way, producer, while we're going, would you get that customer service line for us, the phone number? Unless you know it offhand. But if you don't know it, that's okay. We'll get it.
Yeah.
We're going to get it. Don't worry.
And another thing,
Let's get that if you don't mind there, producer.
Since Charlotte brought up the fees and fines, I kind of want to talk about one of the things we did. When we partnered with TxDOT and we do their back office, one of the big frustrations, Gilbert, in the region was, Fort Bend, Montgomery, Brazoria, TxDOT toll roads in this very region. So if, say, Charlotte drove on 249 and then got on our toll road and then she hit Grand Parkway somewhere, you would get 3 separate invoices. And if you were late, you paid 3 separate fines, right? And for one trip. So by us partnering with TxDOT and doing their back office for them, the amount of fees the customers pay is just 1.
Oh, how great!
And those other 2 fees go away because you're only getting invoiced to 1.
So it's better coordinated.
Yeah, it's better coordinated. Another thing we did is in the past toll.
When did you do that?
What's that?
When did you do that?
It was last December.
That's great.
No, the December before last.
That's so great. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please,
no, it's fine.
Keep going.
Absolutely. So another thing we did is, so what that does is, it's just 1 invoice. And what we did is before in the past, if you drove one day and you got tolls and you didn't pay, that transaction would get fees. And then you'd go in another day, those transactions would get their own fees. Mm-hmm. So every day that you got on the system, you were getting hit with $7 fees per transaction. And then once it got to 30 days, it go to collection and they put more fees on it.
Oh my goodness.
So we adopted a new policy, court adopted a new policy, non-predatory, which is their mantra. Like, if there's one thing they've gotten clear to me is don't be predatory. And what we did is we aggregated people's invoices to a monthly invoice now. So you can go all month and your administrative fee will be $10. As opposed to $10 a day, it's $10 period. And you can have 100 transactions in a month. And then we give you 60 days to pay now before it goes to collections. And even in collections, that those fees are capped to where it's not just, we're just going to charge you everything, we're going to send attorneys after you. You're our customers, a lot of you are Harris County residents, and we really want to take care of you. But we do have to capture back the cost of operations. Like, there's a cost to collect, and that's all we want. We don't want additional revenue stream or be punitive to our own constituents.
That is so great. Okay, I see a thing there. This is for me. It says here, Hectra customer service. This is it, 281-875-3279. So that's 281 875-3279, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And Saturdays, can you imagine they're open on Saturdays from 8 to 4:30. So you heard it here first on a tip from Gilbert. Call them, tell them you heard it here, and then tell them what your circumstances are. Let's see what we can do. But going back, I think that's so great. It's a kinder, gentler Hectra.
Yep.
And that's because of you.
Oh, it's because the Commissioner's Court. They provide the direction. I just steer the ship.
Well, then guess what? Way to go, Commissioner's Court.
Yep.
And we've had Tom Ramsey on my show, and of course we'll have other commissioners. And I've had, of course, Commissioner Ellis here at the office talking in the firm to the firm, et cetera. And so that is super, super great. So a couple of other things I want to touch base with you. Talk to me about some of the technology of the Easy Tag, because I have one. It is super great.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm always worried about, when I'm driving, did it register my car, and because you just don't know, and then I get my bill at the end of the month. Mm-hmm. So when did that get instituted?
Well,
has it always been like that?
It's always been like that, and the good thing about that technology, it's 99.99% accurate.
Oh, how great!
Yeah, so that's the accuracy that those transponders, go back to your account. So we give 8 free Easy Tags now. In the past, you used to charge $4 per Easy Tag. Now they're free, up to 8 for.
Wow!
For
you mean
family,
for like your family?
For your family.
Oh, how great!
Yes. So we're even when it comes to the tag, we're really trying to make it more like a friendly business as opposed to this government entity that just wants to go collect revenue.
Right.
And it's just a balance.
And so how much do the tolls, so go back for a second, there's how many miles of tolls?
132 lane miles.
132. Okay. 132 miles.
Lane miles, yep.
Lane miles. Now, does that mean if there are 2 lanes?
It's just one, that would consider just one line.
Okay, yeah. So that just miles. Yeah. Let me ask you this. So how much is raised every year?
That's another thing that Hector's been able to do really well. The toll rate has not been raised since 2015.
Oh, come on!
Now you're in the money business.
Yeah.
You understand the inflation rate from 2015 to now.
Wow, especially right now.
Correct. And not only have we not raised tolls, a year ago we provided a 10% rebate if you have a two axle vehicle, which means a lot of personal vehicles. So you have a 10% discount on that rate if you have an Easy Tag.
Wow.
So we're really, really working hard to just do good business. And that just means taking care of the customer. So we're going the opposite direction from the industry is a CPI index just every year goes up. What we're doing is we provided a discount. And we did it for the 2-axle vehicles because that's more residential, that's more personal vehicles. And we'll still be able to maintain really good, healthy operations and still do this capital improvement program that we want to do. So, we're not just looking to make money. We want to run good business.
Very good. And who this is going to be a weird question, but who patrols? I mean, what's the safety on the tolls? Is it TxDOT? Is it the sheriff? I mean, who does the safety?
So the Harris County Constables, we work with all of them. If they touch the system, we work with all of them. The Harris County Constables answered 98% of the incidents on our toll road.
Okay.
Now, if there is something that needs to get investigated that involves something really serious, the Harris County Sheriff's Office steps in and does that 2% investigative activities. And then obviously there's emergency services that come in when vehicles need to get moved out of the way. Mm-hmm. But the Harris County Constables have been there since the beginning of the toll road to support the toll road and the incidents. And it's just something different. When I got to Hectra, they said, "Don't talk about Hectra. No one wants to talk about Hectra," and everybody views it bad. We actually did focus groups, and what we got from the focus groups was not you should go away. It's, we really like the service you provide. Our lighting is good. The incident management is good. It's safe. If we want our family members going anywhere, we want them on a toll road because we have incident response. Not only the constables, but we also have an incident response team that if you run out of gas, we'll give you a gallon of gas to get to the service.
No kidding.
We'll give you a free toll off our system. And and if you have a flat tire, we'll go out there and change your tire.
Wow.
So we have an incident response team where they're constantly roaming the system to make sure that everyone is safe on our roadway.
So if somebody has a problem on the toll, who would they call? Do they call service, or is there like a special line for that?
All right, so all our customers here,
yep,
on your Easy Tag, on your windshield, there's a number on the back of that Easy Tag. Call if you're on our system and you have any issues. Call that number, and it'll go right to our incident response, and we'll send the right people out there to take care of you.
Wow, see if you can find that, the incident response number. That's another great number to have.
Yep.
Especially because if you run out of gas, because sometimes you think, oh, well, I got to, and then you get scared, like, there's only so many drive-offs, you know.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm going to run out of gas, and sure enough, you do. Excuse me. Let's get that number. It'll be interesting to see how many more off-ramps and on-ramps you put on. And who decides that? Is there like a study that says, we see a study, and I'm just making this up, 20% of the people would like to get out on this street.
Yes.
Here we go. Paul Puentes says, thank you, Paul. Hectra, roadside assistance available 7 days a week, 5 a.m. to midnight, 281-584-7500. That's 281-584-7500. 5 a.m. to midnight. That covers it. Way to go. Thank you, Paul Puente. And thank you, Hector, for that. Which reminds me then, since there's a response window, are the tolls, this is silly, 24 hours?
24 hours.
Okay, so they just, you know, they don't shut down.
They don't shut down. They're 24 hours around the clock. They're operable, as I saw Dominic make comment there. Your Easy Tag works in all of Texas, all the toll roads in Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So let me ask you this. I see Dominic. Thank you, Dominic, for that. So here we are. You ready for this? We only have 5 minutes left.
Time flies.
Can you believe that? We've already had, you know, there's an old show, Carol Burnett, I'm dating myself. Do you remember Carol Burnett?
I remember
Okay,
Carol
with Tim Conway, Mrs. Wiggins, and do you remember he would walk, he'd take a long time to walk. You know, there was a song at the end, it's, I'm so glad we had this time together to have a laugh and sing a little song. And before you know it, it's time to say so long. It's almost time to say so long. It's been an hour.
It flew by.
Can you believe that?
Absolutely.
And you
flew by.
probably thought, I'm going to be on this you know, Joker's show, Gilbert Garcia, and I know him from Metro, but you know what? What the heck are we going to talk about for an hour? It goes like that. And you know what? And I feel like we did a lot of good for the citizens. Here's one. Paula Morris or Maurice, do you have special pricing for senior citizens?
We do not.
Okay.
You know, it's difficult to, as far as tag owner and who the actual driver is. So we don't have, you know, for senior citizens, we do not.
Or veterans or anything like that?
We do have a veterans discount.
Is there?
Veterans, as long as you're a vet, you get free passage on our roadways.
Is that right?
Yes,
Wonderful.
sir.
Way to go.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, it's one of those things where it's time to say so long, but we did a lot of good here. We told people about all the things they can do, the different phone numbers. It's all about information to Houston and Harris County to make their lives better. And that's what this show is all about. And that's what Hectra is all about. And we got to get ready because it's going to be, as Ed Sullen would say, it's going to be a really big show when we have that FIFA coming in and all the people for the World Cup. And Paula just says, sometimes remember, we live on a fixed income. I do understand that. Because most citizens do. So we do appreciate that. So let me tell you this, Roberto. You have about 3 or 4 minutes here. What's the last thing you want to leave, first of all, your team with, who may be, you know, the 1,000 employees of Hetra? What do you want them to hear from you? And then what do you want Harris County and Houston to hear about, you know, what's going on at Hetra? And your camera is right there. And this one is for the TV, and that's for, you know, social media and everything else. But I'm going to give you the last word. What do you want to leave people with?
Well, thank you. Well, I just want to let everybody know that, you know, since the inception of Hectra, a lot has changed, especially recently. And Hectra is nothing to be feared anymore. You know, we will partner with you. We're not going to send, you know, aggressive, you know, legal teams after you. If you're in our system, call us, and we'll do everything we can to accommodate whatever request you need or whatever challenge you may have. But we're here to serve you, and we're not out here to go get you. So ride our roadway, and if there's anything you need, please do not hesitate to reach out. You know, we're all about transparent, and if there's any information you may need along Hectra, it's somewhere on our website. We truly believe about transparency and doing good business, and if there's something you need to know, it's probably on our website.
Amen. So, Houston, Harris County, you got me, a tip from me. And again, I want everyone to remember that we're going to have Dwight Jefferson, who's a former Finance Committee chairman at Metro, on the show on the 30th. We're going to have Mr. Chris Canetti, who again is in charge of all the FIFA and World Cup. He's going to be on the show on April 6th. We're going to have the County Clerk, Teresa Hudspeth, who's going to talk all about how the elections have been going, and they've been coming great. They've been going great. We're going to have Evan Mintz, who's in charge of all the editorials and the opinion writer of all those things on the Houston Chronicle. We will have Christian Minifree to talk about running for Congress again, and we'll have Anise Parker talking about running for county judge. And those last two dates are, of course, the 27th, I believe that's what that says, and May 4th. So we've got a really full schedule, and of course, I got to always say to my friends at Laredo Taqueria, man, your food is great. And they don't pay me for that, other than every now and then they'll slip me a taco. But you know what? That's all the payment I need, because their carne guisada is wonderful. And so, Houston, Harris County, please remember, support our local radio stations and our shows. KWWJ 1360 AM, Keep Walking with Jesus. KYOK 1140 AM. KCOH 1230 KCOH.com. Latino Sports on 850 AM. Sangeet Radio 95.1 FM 1460 AM. We do a lot of good for everybody, and so we will see you next time. All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. We're going to now be on television. We will air every Saturday on Comcast 17, AT&T Channel 99, Phonoscope Channel 96, Suddenlink 99, and also HMSTV.org. Every new episode every Saturday at 7 p.m. And follow me on social media. See you then.